Coming up, it's an arrest we first showed you. It's raised a lot of questions. A lawyer says her client was sexually assaulted by a Raleigh police officer. Tonight, we're getting answers into Raleigh Police Department's arrest procedures.
New at 6, an exclusive interview you'll only hear on WRAL. You have seen the Facebook video capturing the scuffle between the suspect and a deputy putting a hospital on lockdown. Right now, WRAL talks with the patient who caught it all on video.
What was going through your head? Did you think you were going to make it out of that?
No, because they were shooting. There's no way I can get out. And I'm, while they're tussling, I see the gun pointing towards me.
Tonight, we have team coverage of the deadly shooting inside that hospital. We thank you for joining us. I'm David Crabtree.
And I'm Deborah Morgan. WRAL's Adam Owens joins us in a moment with more information about the suspect in this case, 31-year-old Travis Smotherman. Let's start with WRAL's Gilbert Bays with his exclusive interview with a woman who accidentally was caught up in that scuffle. Gilbert?
Well, David and Deborah, I tell you what happened here at the emergency room at Kafir Valley Medical Center, pretty incredible. What's even more incredible is the fact that we have raw footage of the events as they unfolded. That footage shot by a Facebook friend of mine. She didn't want to be on camera, but she has given us permission to use the footage. And we have compressed 2 minutes of footage down to about 40 seconds. And we want to let you know that at some point, that video actually went to black, and we've chosen to cover it with the exteriors of the hospital so your TV screen doesn't go to black. And we want to warn you that the video is difficult to watch and listen to.
Get off my gun! Get off! Get off!
Oh,
Get off!
Stop.
Get off!
Stop.
Get off my gun now!
No, God, no! Stop! 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 No! Get over here! Over here! Stay down! Are you okay?
I would have died! I would have died, man. I would have died, bro.
So what's going through your head now? What's happening next door is now right there in your lap.
I'm terrified, so I jump off the bed, and I didn't even know my phone was still recording. I jump off the bed, and then a gunshot. They're tussling for the gun, and it's on the video. They're tussling, and the gun goes off. I don't know who shot or whatever. And by that time, a nurse came in and had tackled me, because I was still standing up, tackled me to the ground, and that's when my phone fell.
And that is when the video went to black. And of course, she's hoping she can find that nurse and thank her for what she says is saving her life. You might have heard 5 gunshots there as well. Those were fired by a Fayetteville police officer who was at the hospital on an unrelated case, and that is where the confrontation ended. Adam Owens is continuing our team coverage right now. He has more on how that deputy and that suspect ended up here at the hospital. Adam?
Gilbert, our story ends inside this medical center with those gunshots you just heard, but it appears it begins just a short drive away, with the reason that that suspect was arrested in the first place.
He broke in.
Did you call police?
Yeah, that's how it happened.
Rashonda Jackson says Travis Smotherman was a former boyfriend. She says he stayed with her at this home on Tennessee Drive. But very recently, she says she called their relationship off. Over the last 2 days, reports show Cumberland County deputies were called to the home multiple times, twice for a domestic disturbance. Jackson says Smotherman was trying to get inside.
He just wanted to talk to me. And he told the guy that was staying here, Chica, that's my girlfriend, can't nobody else have her. All this stuff. I was just trying to protect myself, so he won't try to hurt me.
Jackson did not want to appear on camera. In her conversation with me, it is clear she was concerned for her safety.
Basically, put my bed against the door, so if he tried to hurt me, anything, I didn't have to worry about him trying to get me.
So she called authorities. The last she was told, Smotherman was in custody. She was shocked to find out how it all ended.
So the last you know is that police had him?
Yeah, the sheriffs and stuff had him.
And she says she slowly had to put those pieces together. She knew that her former boyfriend had been arrested. Then she had heard what had happened here at the medical center. She says as she slowly built that picture together, it was quite devastating. Back to you.
Absolutely. Gilbert Bays and Adam Owens live in Fayetteville on our team coverage of this story. Thank you, guys.
The search continues tonight for a 13-year-old murder suspect to escape from custody in Robinson County. Mark Boyle tracking updates now on this story in the Live Center. Mark.
Good evening, David. And we just heard from the family of this 13-year-old, and we're being told that, quote, they have not found anything. Going into night 2 now for the search for Jericho. Take a look at your screen right here. This is some Sky 5 video from earlier today. Investigators were searching the Lumber River. They were looking for anything at all that would tie the missing boy to anywhere that he escaped from. And now, this is the headline right here. 13-year-old charged with murder escaped from Robinson County Courthouse. He was wearing leg constraints, no shoes. Now, on our website, WRAL.com, that is where we're going to post any updates here overnight and throughout the evening as the search continues. Back to you.
Mark, thank you.
Late this afternoon, the Raleigh police chief responded to a story WRAL first broke last night. It stems from an allegation made by a woman who was stopped and searched during a DWI arrest in September.
Amanda Lamb joining us now live from downtown Raleigh, where a news conference wrapped up just a bit ago. Amanda?
David, very strong words from Chief Cassandra Deck Brown tonight. Not only did she defend the officer, but she says these allegations are appalling, and she said they are unfortunate not only for this officer, but for the police department. Now, this all stems from a DWI stop on St. Mary Street on September 25th. We're not identifying the woman because she believes she was a victim of a sex crime. She was arrested and searched. She had a blood alcohol content of 0.15. In that video, you can see the officer searched near her breasts, her backside, and in between her legs. The chief acknowledges that these are invasive and uncomfortable moments, but she says they are important because they protect the officer and everyone else on the scene.
And safety is paramount for all of us. A search, and more specifically, the search that that officer conducted, is a search that we've trained that officer to conduct. He did what he was trained, and we trained him how to do it.
Well, I would say he is a good police officer, and we are representing him. And right now, we believe that he is completely innocent of any wrongdoing, and the investigation will show that.
Now, that's the police union that he belongs to. The chief says she is going to petition the court to ask a judge to allow them to release all of the videos in this case so that the public can decide. And why she had this press conference right here, well, this is the Raleigh Police Fallen Officers Memorial. And back in the 1980s, an officer was killed by a suspect during a DWI arrest. She was in the backseat of his patrol car. And so, of course, that is a story that they remember, even though it was a long time ago. And it advises them that, you know, searching is very important to safety. David?
Amanda, I'm just curious. We had talked about this yesterday. There's a female officer at the scene during the arrest. Is there any indication of why she did not conduct the search?
Well, we did ask the chief that, and she said basically they are all taught that searching is not gender related. In other words, a female officer can search a male officer can search a female, and that they don't see any gender when it comes to this very specific procedure that they train them to do. And coming up tonight at 10 and 11, we're going to take you inside that training.
Amanda Lamb live in Raleigh. Thanks, Amanda.
A federal grant announced today could bring high-speed broadband to thousands of homes. The U.S. Department of Agriculture awarded nearly $24 million to Star Communications in Clinton. The company will use the money to improve the broadband infrastructure in Sampson County. That service area includes more than 8,700 homes, as well as businesses, churches, farms, and schools. And Raleigh has topped another best cities list. This one has nothing to do with jobs or work. Why we are tops in Thanksgiving destinations. That story coming up.
Also, an NC State graduate honored by the Raleigh mayor with her own day. How the astronaut reacted to the declaration that today is Christina Cook Day. Mike?
Well, Deb, we are tracking an Arctic front. You can see the leading edge of that colder air moving through the plain states. Now, when we come back with weather, we're going to talk about the arrival of rain with the front and the cold air that follows. It's in the forecast coming up.
Fayetteville will be reimbursed for some of its expenses due to Hurricane Florence. The city will receive more than $3 million to cover the cost of removing debris. Crews collected enough vegetation to fill more than 12,500 dump trucks and 36 tons of other storm debris.
The Whirligig Park in Wilson is officially the people's choice. Voters in the 2019 Great Places in America contest picked the Wallace Simpson Whirligig Park as their favorite. The park was also named a great place for public art in North Carolina. Voting happened online. The American Planning Association sponsors the awards. We have a new chapter in the ongoing grocery store wars in Wake County. A new Lidl opened in Cary this morning. It's on North Harrison Avenue near Maynard Road. It's the third Lidl to open in the Triangle.
Tired of traveling for Thanksgiving? Well, maybe your family should come to you. Raleigh made Wallet Hub's top 10 cities to visit for Thanksgiving this year. We have plenty of volunteer opportunities ranked highly in the affordability of a Thanksgiving dinner, and we top the charts on weather forecasting and Thanksgiving events, from open restaurants to turkey trots. Well, the forecast may not have any rain, but it is going to be cold. Meteorologist Mike Mays has the detailed timeline coming up. And there's more than school spirit going on here at Carolina. We'll explain the story behind this UNC sign coming up.
I'm Mark Boyle in the Live Center. The Council of Bishops meeting just wrapped up today in Western North Carolina, and quite the headline coming out of that meeting. United Methodist Division declaring itself a safe harbor for LGBTQ clergy. Now, all of this is coming just months before new restrictions strengthening the denomination's ban on ordination and marriage of LGBTQ members. That is set to take effect on January 1st. Back to you.
Thank you, Mark. A quilt honoring homicide victims in Durham is now on display. Here's a live look at the exhibit at the Human Services Building in Durham. Each square on this quilt honors a life lost to violence. Artist Sidney Brody began needling the quilt in the late 1990s. Since then, Brody has added a patch in honor of every life lost in Durham, more than 800 squares. The quilt will be on display through November 29th. Wide Open Bluegrass is a big hit every year in Raleigh, and now the International Bluegrass Music Association is revealing just how big of a hit. According to the association, more than 218,000 people attended the events in September. That generated more than $18 million worth of economic impact in Wake County. That's the highest impact in the festival's 7 years in Raleigh. Festival leaders say they are proud of Wide Open Bluegrass's growing success, and they're looking forward to more partnerships with Raleigh.
UNC officials taking heat over their handling of a plaque at Kenan Stadium. Last year, the university said they would remove the plaque, which honored white supremacist William Keener Sr. He was a commander of a group that massacred scores of black residents in Wilmington on a single day in 1898. Instead of removing the plaque, it is now simply covered with the UNC logo, and some students are not pleased.
And instead of being open and honest with the students about what their plans for the plaque were and how they were going to go about it, they decided to be more deceitful and not necessarily explain to us what was happening.
The university told us covering the plaque is only a temporary solution until new signage can be created. North Carolina continues to heal from the Wilmington massacre of 1898. Today, we dug into our archives to find an interview with the descendant of another prominent figure to hear how he reconciles the events and the past. To watch it, search archives on WRAL.com.
The Raleigh mayor declared today Astronaut Christina Cook Day, and the NC State graduate shared a message all the way from the International Space Station.
Thank you all for the recognition that I hope will help foster inspiration for students throughout the Raleigh area and beyond. I am so appreciative of your support, Mayor McFarland, and I'm honored to be a part of the community outreach in science, technology, engineering, and math, or the STEM fields. It's an honor to receive this recognition from my adopted home of Raleigh. I lived in Raleigh for 5 years while I attended North Carolina State University. NC State and the city of Raleigh were really formative in my career.
Mayor Nancy McFarland made the declaration at today's City Council meeting. Cook is originally from Jacksonville, North Carolina. I love when she does that. She's a long way from home. Cook is expected to set a record for the longest single space flight by a woman. Her ISS journey will expected to last anyway, 328 days.
Every time we see her, she is so joyous,
Yes,
isn't
exactly. And she can just float away like that.
she? I want to see your hair like that one time.
Sometimes it does, and I'm not up in space. That's the bad
Mike,
part of all that.
We've seen that, haven't we, Mike?
No. Oh,
On a
Deborah's hair's
windy
always,
day,
it's
you
always
betcha.
looking good. I just wish I had more hair than I have right now. Not as long as yours, but hey, take a little bit of it. We had a beautiful day around here. We're cooling off quickly. 48 at Roxborough, 58 in Raleigh, 60 right now at Fayetteville. And boy, there's so much colder air to come. Take a look at what we did today. We had 65 at RDU, 69 Fayetteville. We expect to be warmer than that for the day tomorrow. We have another chilly night in progress. 50 will be the temperature expected to be by 8 o'clock. By daybreak, about 44. By lunchtime tomorrow, 63. And by 2 o'clock, 66. We're forecasting 69 for our high tomorrow. So again, warmer than what we had today. So what's ahead? We have a cold front coming by tomorrow night with a 50% chance for rain. It'll be anywhere from about 10 o'clock through about 4 a.m. We'll outline that on Futurecast coming up. We have a couple of Arctic fronts coming, actually probably more like 3. The first one arrives Friday morning with a hard freeze expected Saturday morning. Then the second one arrives next week. Highs possibly in the 30s and 40s by next Wednesday. There's yet another Arctic front that should blow through next Thursday night and Friday, keeping the cold air coming. So let's check out how we see the temperatures descend. Well, actually how the rain comes in first and then the temperatures descend. So we start this tomorrow evening at 6 o'clock. We're all mild with temperatures in the 50s and 60s. Here comes the rain beginning to approach the area by 10 o'clock. By 10 o'clock tomorrow night, Roxborough, you're probably seeing a little bit of rain. The rest of us, it's after midnight, 1 a.m., rain falling in Raleigh. Temperatures still on the mild side in the 50s. But after the front rolls on by, temperatures start to fall into the 40s. And by the time we start the day on Friday, we're going to see clearing skies, if not full sunshine by the start of the day. Temperatures are in the 40s. The winds perhaps gusting up to 30 miles per hour. So wind chills will be driven down into the 30s for the morning. Lunchtime, temperatures are in the mid-40s to about 50, and then during the afternoon, they stay in the 40s. So you get the idea. It is going to be a cold, blustery day on Friday, requiring heavier clothing than what we've been used to wearing lately. For football games Friday evening, 39 in Raleigh, 41 Fayetteville, definitely need to bundle up. But this evening, not nearly as cold, 49 by 9 o'clock, 11 o'clock, about 47. Jackets would suffice, but you're really going to have to break out those bigger coats by the time we get to the end of the week. Upper 30s to mid-40s lows tonight, mainly clear, 44 Raleigh, 42 at Rocky Mount. And then tomorrow, a milder day than today. Some 70s will show up, 73 perhaps in Fayetteville, near 70 in Raleigh, mid-60s for Roxborough. Here is your 7-day forecast. A mild day tomorrow, then it's windy and colder on Friday, a high of 50 before sunrise, and then in the 40s the entire day. A hard freeze Saturday morning. We've got 28, could be possibly colder than that in Raleigh. Definitely low to mid-20s up in Roxborough. 50 on Saturday. We start to warm back up Sunday and Monday. Here comes the second shot of cold air. And by Tuesday, it's rain with temperatures falling into the 30s during the afternoon. David, Deborah?
We are going to feel that.
Yes,
Thanks, Mike.
Jeff Gravely's here, and a bit of a hard freeze for NC State last night.
Ooh, a tough one to take, but we'll learn from it. I'll show you what they should have done in that last possession last night. And tonight is expected to be the start of something special for Carolina's Cole Anthony. The Heels hosting Notre Dame for the season opener.
WRAL Sports starts now.
North Carolina will hit the ground running tonight at 7 as they host Notre Dame in the season opener. It will mark the debut of freshman guard Cole Anthony. We've seen glimpses of him in an exhibition game or two, but tonight it counts. He's ultra talented, and his leadership is something that Roy Williams has pointed to. There's another aspect the Hall of Fame coach has seen: super competitiveness in whatever he does. That includes the preseason running test that Anthony aced.
We had a very difficult running day over at the indoor facility, and he was off the charts good. So I think that he's gotten a respect from the guys because of that. And he will listen, you know, especially B. Robin Garrison. They can say things to him, and he takes it very well. So he's got a tremendous number of people saying tremendous things about him. But I think he's still trying to do the best he can out on the court.
I think it's pretty safe to say this is one of the most anticipated freshmen that Roy Williams has had at North Carolina. NC State lost a heartbreaker to Georgia Tech in overtime. I want to take you to the final few seconds in overtime. C.J. Bryce hits 2 free throws to give State a 1-point lead with 35 seconds. On text possession, Devin Daniels comes up with a huge steal, but instead of keeping it and possibly getting fouled, he passes to Manny Bates. As a guard, you never pass to a big man in that situation on the break. Daniels said after the game, next time, I'll just keep it. Text James Banks makes 2 free throws, and for the second year in a row, the Jackets escape Raleigh on a play by James Banks. Kevin Keats after the game on the end-of-game situation.
Listen, it was a bang-bang play. I wish Devin would have had a chance to hold the ball. I thought we could have got fouled and got to the free throw line. But he saw Manny streaking and, passed the ball to him. And unfortunately, it hit his hands and went through it. Could have been a different outcome. But, obviously, it's a situation that happens so quick and you can't get it back.
Sure is a great teaching tool. State's back on the court Sunday against Detroit Mercy. Kevin Keats still doesn't know if Markel Johnson will be able to go because of an ankle injury. Man, 4th-ranked Duke picks up a big win over number 3 Kansas last night, 68-66. Freshman Cassius Stanley right here. Matthew Hurd and Vernon Carey combined for 35. But it's the clutch play of guard Trey Jones and defense down the stretch that really seals the deal for the Blue Devils. As good as that win is, it can't top the shot of the night from the Duke women. Kyra Lambert from about 60. Are you kidding me? That's her first basket since tearing her ACL in 2017. She had 3 knee surgery, but man, what an unbelievable finish for her to be her first bucket since 3 surgeries. How about that?
And it was nothing but net.
Nothing but net.
That was incredible.
That's a 60 feet heave.
That's great.
One of the longest threes you'll see this college basketball season.
She's been working out her arms while she's been healing
No
her
doubt about
legs.
it. It's pretty awesome to see.
And you're very adamant about your coaching tonight.
Well, a big man at the top of the key on the fast break, no. A big man in the paint on the fast break, yes.
Now we know.
Hold the ball, get fouled.
You won't forget, will you?
Not at all.
Thank you, Jeff. And thank you for joining us. NBC Nightly News is up next.
Join us tonight for our news at 10 on Fox 50 and at 11 here on WRAL. Have a great night.